How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Cape Snakes. My name is Maddie, and today we will be finished building the hatchling ball python rack. I say kind of finished building because I am waiting for the Herbstat 2 to come in, which is coming in on Monday. Today is Saturday, but we can get it pretty much built completely. We'll just have to leave the thermostat shelf out of the equation. I can't build it entirely without the Herbstat in because I have to tape the probe to the underside of the actual heat tape. I don't know if you can tell behind me, but I got the room trimmed up. Look at that. I did that last night. I just wanted to bang it out, get it done. Last thing on this room that I really had to do. I'm sure there'll be a couple minor things here and there, but it looks really good. I can say that this room is actually finished entirely, minus building enclosures and racks and stuff like that. But before we start building the hatchling ball python rack, I do have to clean Bear. He took a big poop last night, so that's the first thing on my list. I am still waiting for a hatchling tub and deli cups from Feed and Breeder. Hopefully those will be here next week. If not, that's okay. I can still move a couple of them over. I'll just have to leave Scarlett in her current tank for now. A little update on the new guy I got last night. He is doing great so far. He was super active last night. He just was cruising around everywhere, but he's looking good. Look at that tongue flicking. He's probably not a big fan of this camera right here. I was messing with him a little bit earlier, just checking on him, but just a little update on him. He's doing great so far. Probably gonna try feeding him this coming week. I did find a source for live mice and rats. I'm gonna try to get a mouse fuzzy for him. He was being fed live previous to me having him, so I just want to get a couple live meals into him, make sure he's eating and healthy. And then I will transfer him over to frozen thawed because that's what I feed all my snakes. Also, another quick update on Tika, the Enchi Pastel, in her tub. She is almost out of shed, but she was exploring onto the basking spot back there. I'm just kind of messing with the substrate itself, trying to find the perfect medium. I think keeping it really thin where the basking spot is the best choice because this is perfectly 90, 91. But she is doing very good. She's trying to soak in her water dish right now, but she's a little too big for that water dish. So I'm gonna do a quick little time lapse of me doing change outs and whatnot. Because Bear and Claire are massive snakes, they poop very large poops and piss all over the place. So what I always do is when I see it, I take a tub and I fill it up with some nice warm water, give them a quick soak while I'm cleaning theirs, just to rinse off any pee or poop that could be possibly on them. And then I just throw them back in. Absolutely massive.
Kiyoto.
Well, he's all clean. The last thing I gotta do is just wash his water dish because there's nastiness all over it. Give him some fresh water. But now I gotta take out the bedding in Tika's old enclosure just to clean it up. There's no sense in leaving all that stuff in there. Since all the animal maintenance is done pretty much for today, besides just checking in on them, I do have to feed my Tegu today. Today is his feeding day, but we can get to building the hatchling racks. I got everything out right here. So you got Feed and Breeder tubs, FB10s, THG heat tape, 3-inch heat tape. I use 1.5" screws. Got all our side pieces, tape measure. We got all our shelves. These are the thermostat shelves, screw gun, stapler, and coffee. We got the essentials. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to staple down the heat tape on the first one, and then I'll just do a quick little time lapse of me doing them all, because the way we have to build this, we have to put each thing of heat tape on the actual shelf before we can actually assemble it. Because we have to staple it down first, because there's no way we'll fit a staple gun in between each shelf level. Stay there. So, we're gonna staple down each one. I've never built a rack this way. We're gonna try it out. Hopefully it'll work. I think it will be. I think it will work. I also got a couple pieces of 1/8 inch acrylic. It's gonna sit just like that. It's kind of hard to see, but it's just gonna sit like that, and that will determine the spacing in between each shelf. So I will have an 1/8 inch air gap between the shelf and the tub. Some guys like to build it super tight tolerance, use no air gap whatsoever. I personally like having the air cap for good ventilation. I think that is a key. I don't want to drill any holes in these nice tubs. I don't see the point in that. I can just make an 1/8 inch air gap all the way around and we'd be good to go. Also with PVC can flex a little bit. You know, it is a flexible material to an extent. If a shelf does decide to bow a little bit, I'm not fighting the tub to get it in and out. I ordered 3-inch THG heat tape at 2 feet because these shelves are 18 inches long. I can't order just a foot, and I want it to run the entire width here. What we have to do is trim it, obviously. When you trim, you have to cut on a white line, not a black one, because that's the actual heating element. You can cut through right here, and you'll be good to go. So we're gonna line this up. I'm lining up so the actual connections hang off the edge, and we land pretty much dead on a white spot at the end here. So I'm gonna take my scissors. Cut. Then I'm gonna take electrical tape, tape the copper ends, because these are live and you obviously don't want a fire to happen. Tape it, cover it up. You want to be safe. You don't want to cut corners with this and ruin your whole collection or your house. Just like that. Now the heat tape does have like a vinyl layer over all of this, so over this copper, so if you touch this you won't get shocked. But because we cut it here, we expose some of that copper, and we don't want any shorts in that. Now we're gonna line it up, take our staple gun. Now we're stapling, once again, on the white, not the copper, because you will cause problems, not the black, because you will short it out. So on the white, we'll put one there, flatten it out, we'll put one in the middle, and one on the end. Careful of the electrical connections, you don't want to send one through there. Now we'll just do the other side. Take your time with this, you don't want to rush it. I've done this a few times, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Just like that. So now that lays nice and flat, and we can send a couple more in between those. We don't want this moving anywhere. Last ones we're gonna do one on the end here and one on the end on the other side, just because we don't want this flipping up for whatever reason. Want this to be nice and secure. So I'm gonna be careful here. Make sure I'm hitting my mark, like so. Like so. The last thing we're gonna do before this is called done is some of these staples won't drive in all the way. That's just the PVC fighting back. So we're gonna take something hard so that we can press the staples down all the way, get them nice and tight. The other key to this is to make sure it is nice and below that level that the tubs will actually sit on. because you don't want the tubs, when you pull them in and out, rubbing up against the heat tape itself. It will eventually, over time, get rid of this vinyl covering, and you will short it out or cause a fire. So take a nice look. If it looks like one side is up past the level, like this spot right here, what you can do is just take a couple more staples, send it through. Now on the ends here, obviously these connections are going to stick up a little bit, but when this is all together, it's going to be about there. This tub won't come anywhere near close to these connections because the bottom is obviously tapered inwards. And that works out perfectly. So just slide in, out, like butter. One last thing before I go ahead and do the rest of them real quick is staple sizes. This is 1/2 inch PVC, but we routed out an 1/8 inch. So now that makes it 3/8 inch PVC where the heat tape is going to go. Now you don't want to get super long staples because then they'll just stick through the other side. I believe I'm using 5/16, I want to say. Not 100% sure. All I know is that they don't go through the other side. And that is what you want. So now, let's do the rest of it. Now that we got all the heat tape stapled down on each shelf, not including the thermostat shelves, I have to run the thermostat probe wire through this notch down underneath the heat tape, tape it to the heat tape, then I can staple down the actual heat tape. We're gonna build it entirely, but once I get it built entirely with every shelf in there, I'm just gonna unscrew the thermostat shelves and just pull them out for now. So when I get my Herpstat 2 on Monday, I can just hook that up. The shelf already has its own spot. I can just re-screw it back in and we'll be good to go, and I get it up and running. With that being said, we can start putting these all together. Now this is a little tricky part, especially if you're one person. You kind of just have to balance things to get it right. And I'll show you how I'm gonna do the first one, or maybe the first couple. I am building from the top down. So we got our top shelf right here. There's nothing routed in it whatsoever because it is the top. We got, right now, 4 side pieces just to get it in place. It's gonna go like this, and then we'll add a middle one once we get these 4 in place. And the last 2 that we'll add are on the back, but we'll do that once the shelf is pretty much built entirely. That's what I did with the last one, and it worked out really well. Like I said before, I am using 1 5/8" screws. I like using this. You got a 1/2 inch in, and then you got another inch almost into the actual shelf itself. Now when you're doing this can be tricky, especially if you're doing it alone, but we want to line this up as perfect as possible. What I like to do actually is start the screw where it will be, so then I don't have to fiddle around with trying to get the screw in there. You can countersink these screws. I usually don't. I just drive them in, clamp it down in place just so it doesn't move on me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out. So this should be 21 3/4 inch long, which it is. So 21.75 divided by 2, 10 7/8. So I'm going to mark out as 10 7/8. So we're going to measure out 1.25 because that's what centered it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up both centers, and then I'm going to mark the one edge of the actual side piece. And that's when I know, that's how I know that that's where it needs to be lined up. If you are looking to build your own rack, you don't have to do it this style where you have individual side pieces. I'm only doing this, one, to save on cost, because if I did a whole side piece, that would mean much more material. And also, I don't really have to worry about temperature problems in my reptile room. I have a space heater in there set at a specific degree. It's connected to my phone so I can watch it, monitor wherever I am. I also have a Wi-Fi thermometer as well that sends information to my phone. So I can look at any point, say, oh, it's 80 degrees in my reptile room right now. It gives me averages and all of that. So my reptile room stays an average of 80 degrees. The lowest it goes is 79. The highest it goes is 81. So I don't have to worry about any problems with that. In a case where you don't have the greatest insulation in your room's a little chillier than normal, then you would want to do a full side piece just to keep all that heat within your rack. I just went with this way. It saves on material. I don't have to worry about that. And it's a lot easier in my opinion. Now that I got my side pieces in, besides the back ones for now, it's easier to put those on once you have every shelf in place. I'm going to take my tubs, put them upside down, just like so. Look at that fitment. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Put my tubs in upside down. I'm then going to take my acrylic, my 1/8 inch acrylic that I cut down to size, place it on there. This will set your air gap. I'm going to take my shelf, place it in there. I'm only going to line up one side for right now. With PVC, it's easy to maneuver this kind of stuff and push or pull it any way you want it. I'm going to start one of these screws, and now I'm going to push down to get the best fitment. Make sure you're lined up and send it in. I am going to do this for every post. When I get to the corner on one side, make sure it's lined up and then send a screw through it. So basically you push down, make sure you get it nice and tight, and send a screw through. So I got this side screwed in for the most part. I just want to show you real quick what I'm working with on the other side. So obviously that does not line up there. Nowhere does it line up here. There's definitely an edge right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull it to fit. Now what I noticed when I first started pulling it, that the edge over here started to lift, so I just clamped it down. But now I can pull it, the edge won't lift, and then I can screw it in place. just like that, rack 1 is built. Very easy process. It can be very tedious and just repetitive, but it is easy. Like I mentioned before, I didn't put any heat tape on the thermostat shelf because this shelf has to come back out so I can put the thermostat probe on the heat tape itself. But looks awesome. Tubs are nice. Look at that. Also, the last thing that I have to do, which I'm gonna do real quick, is put on these back pieces. They go just like that. Actually, I think I'm gonna do 3 back pieces. After thinking about it a little bit, I am definitely gonna do 4 back pieces on here. And that is because if I can get this to stay there. If I only do the 2, then you have this nice gap here. And then, obviously this isn't flush up. If I was only to have 1 tub in here, then one side doesn't have anything to push up against. So if I was a little off because for whatever reason, then this tub could come out a little bit more farther than I want. So what I'm going to do is line it up to where the thermostat wire is going to run. And then, so the wire will run perfectly in between there, and I won't have to worry about it. Well, that's the first hatchling rack built. Minus the thermostat, obviously. All these slide in nice. The only thing I do have to be careful of is pulling it this way and it gets stuck. But that's okay. Look at that. All of these are buttery smooth. Absolutely perfect. Gonna give this a quick wipe down eventually before I actually set it up. Look at Tika in there. But yeah, I'm excited. Since that one's built, I can get working on the second one, and then the racks for now are done. That's all I need to build for right now because I only have 1 adult ball python and I have 3 hatchlings now, or one of them is an actual hatchling. The other 2 are older than that. One's at like 300 grams, the other one's 700, but they'll be in the hatchling tubs until they're about 1,000 grams, maybe a little bit over. Once these racks are built and set up completely, the next thing on my list of things to buy is I want to buy just every single tub I would possibly need for the racks that I have set up right now, because if I do get another hatchling or I get another breeder, I want to be able to just have the stuff, set up a tub, and I'm good to go. I don't have to worry about that stuff, because what I did to myself is I didn't have all the tubs for the hatchling rack, and now I'm currently waiting for another tub to come in from Freedom Breeder, and I know they are just slam packed with business right now, and being the holiday season, packages are being delayed and whatnot, so I've been waiting on a package for a little bit now. I'm waiting on another adult breeder tub, I'm waiting on deli cups, and I'm waiting on another hatchling ball python tub. But it's okay. Once my herpstat comes in tomorrow, not tomorrow, sorry. Once it comes in on Monday, I can set up both of these racks, just plug everything in. Oh, I do have to get another industrial power strip to plug into the herpstat. I can probably get that at Home Depot, so I'm not really concerned about that. But for now, that's what we got. I'm gonna go build the second one and then wrap up this video. Well guys, I just finished up the second rack for the hatchling ball pythons. Came out great. I ran out of 1 5/8" screws, but that's okay. I just used 1 1/4". I would have preferred 1 1/2", but that's all right. It works. There it is. There's both of them stacked on top of one another. For now, this will probably be the permanent spot for them. I have to build a 4x8 enclosure for my tegu, which is going to basically take up this entire wall. So all the snakes will come over here. The bear and Claire will be stacked on top of the tegu's enclosure. They will be getting 6x2 enclosures once that's built and up and running. So we got another project there. I got a lot of projects going on. There's just always something going on around here. But I'm excited. I'm happy the way they turned out. You know, look at that. So if you don't know, these are 5 shelves high, 2 wide, so I can fit 10 tubs per rack. So that gives me 20 hatchling spots. For my first year breeding, I'm only gonna have 1 clutch, unless I magically find a breeder female and breed it. But for right now, I'm more focused on the 1 clutch that I'm going to have. That's with Tika and the GHI Blackhead. The clutch average is around, you can have as little as 2 eggs to 10 eggs. So being Tika is a virgin, she probably will only have a handful of eggs. I expect no more than 4, to be honest, but you never know. It's surprise. You could be surprised. I don't think Mittens, the normal ball python, will be ready by 2021. You never know though. She is pretty much halfway there. Scarlet definitely won't be ready in that time. She's only 300 grams, but that's okay. So 2022, she should definitely be ready. Trying to pick up another female hatchling, but it is expensive, so I gotta save up for it. But that female itself is the key for 2023, 2024 for the route that I am taking. We'll see though. I'm excited. You just gotta build. You just gotta put your mind to it and just do it. Do what you have to do to build yourself up, build your collection. I only have 3 females. 1's only ready to breed. That's okay though. So you gotta plan for the situation that you are in, right? So I got 1 clutch, hopefully for 2021 coming. 2-3 years down the line, that 1 clutch is what I need for 2 to 3 years down the line. Probably 3 or 4 years down the line for what I'm trying to hit. And I'll probably try to do some other projects, little projects here and there, but you know, I'm excited. I'm glad I got these done. Now I just gotta wait for Monday so the herpstat comes in so I can finish it completely. I'm gonna give this a quick wipe down because it's a little dirty. I hope you found this content helpful. If you have any questions for me, leave a comment or follow me at Cape_snakes508 on Instagram and shoot me a DM. I'll be glad to answer whatever questions you may have about building racks. In this case, there's a million ways you can do it. So watch other YouTubers' videos. There's a bunch of videos out on how to do it. This is how I wanted to do it. This is what worked best for my situation. My only advice to you is avoid melamine. I know it's cheap, but spend the extra money and go with PVC. You won't regret it. The last thing I do want to say, if you want to know, I got almost 2 racks out of 1 sheet of PVC board. So that's 1 4x8 sheet of 1/2-inch PVC. I had to buy an additional 4x2 sheet of PVC for the 6 shelves on each rack. You might need a second 2x4 sheet, or because a 2x4 sheet is already $25 a pop, you could just buy a second sheet of PVC. So you're looking to spend $150 for the materials itself, for the heat tape, for the 3-inch heat tape for the hatching rack specifically. I got 10 2-foot sections pre-connected because I didn't want to deal with having to connect them all. I got that for $100 each, and then for each tub it's $850 a tub. That doesn't include bedding. I would assume you already have bedding, so you're looking about $200 per rack, not including thermostat. You definitely need a thermostat. So if you want to go the cheap route or the budget route and get an Amazon special, you most certainly can. That's what I'm running on the adult rack. It seems to be working just fine. I wanted to get a herpstat, more professional, just a better product all around. If you wanted the cheap one, you're looking at about another $30. So you're looking at about $230 for 2 hatchling ball python racks. That's not bad. A standard rack, that PVC rack that you would buy, is about $500. That's not including the heat tape or the tubs or anything like that. You gotta buy that stuff separate or add it on to your purchase. So that's why I went the build route. I already had most of the materials. I didn't really have to spend that much. I probably spent about 150, not including the Herbstad 2. That was just a bonus. I was like, yeah, I may as well get it now just to have it, get it set up permanently so I don't have to touch it again. Eventually, when I do start bringing some sort of income, I will eventually buy some professional racks, maybe ARS or Sea Serpents, maybe Vision racks. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. You know, that's for the future. I'm living with what I got right now, making what I have work, and that's really all it is. So like, comment, subscribe, shoot me a DM on Insta if you want, and I hope you have a great day.